My name is Alex. I'm working as a festivals and distribution coordinator at SDI, and I've also been involved with coordinating New Voices, which has been really exciting for me because I got to meet a lot of amazing women who are on to doing some really amazing things. And I am joined today by some of them. So it's Viana Maya, who's running the career coaching sessions for the program, as well as some of the participants. We have Charlotte, Fatma, Beth, um, and they are just a few of the 9 participants we've had for the pilot New Voices program. And together we'll have an open conversation about the program, how it looks like, what to expect, some of the fresh experiences of actually being involved, as well as some tips and advice for the application process. Um, so you can ask questions at any point using the chat box, or you can unmute yourself a bit later on in the evening and just ask your questions to our speakers or any kind of questions or comments you have. But first, I thought it'd be good to start by giving you a brief introduction of New Voices, in case you haven't heard of it yet. So just to get an idea of the program and what are the kind of key dates. So New Voices is a mix of workshops, career coaching, business-oriented sessions that will expand your knowledge of the documentary industry and of this career path, what to expect, as well as building your confidence. Some of the film industry sessions will be run by SDI or experts, friends of SDI, and the career coaching sessions will be run by Viana Maya. These sessions will take place every 2 weeks or so, and you'll have both one-to-ones as well as group sessions. Then the selected participants will also be matched with a mentor with whom you'll be able to meet once a month, or to arrange it flexible around your own schedule during the program. We have an amazing group of mentors who have vast experience in the industry, from funding to producing, directing documentaries for TV or for theatrical distribution. We have the list of mentors is on our website, and we will keep kind of reaching out to any other potential mentors, just so we have a variety of people we could pair the mentees with. The program runs for 6 months from from the end of March until September, and it will most likely take place via Zoom online for the foreseeable future, potentially in person in Edinburgh for a roundtable discussion at the end with all the mentors and participants. That would be later this year, around October time. So applications are open until the end of January, on the 31st of January. And the detailed guidance is on our website. We'll post the link in the chat box here. And yeah, before we talk about the application process in more detail, I thought it'd be good to dive into the program and just hear about some of our guests today. So maybe I'll start with you, Vienna, if you would like to say a bit more about yourself and your role in New Voices.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Viana. I am the founder of Prespect. Prespect, we provide support with employability, career development, etc. And part of what I do with the SDI New Voices is I've created the career coaching section of it, where we're supporting people in as a group or one-to-one. And that's really been a personal experience. Although we have ready-made content such as a booklet, and when we come to meet the people, we adapt them to who's in the group. As we know, everybody's journey and experience is different, but what's been amazing about this is that we've been able to create a supportive system, and we have our own private Facebook group with the 10 of us, I think, that's in this group. We're sharing information that, some of us who are new in the industry are gaining from people who've been around for a bit longer. And for those who've been around a bit longer, learning new tips and ideas. We were just discussing earlier in terms of things like pressure and, you know, well-being mindset. That's really important in what we do with the New Voices. So it's not all business, 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 and, you know, industry, making money and all, you know, all that is great too. But I think, especially with the world that we're in now, from what's happened in 2020 till now, mindset and well-being is really important. So we bring that in, and it's just an organic thing that we do, and making sure that everybody is okay in the process. There's no pressure and comparison. So it's really important when you come in, if you're at the beginning of your career and you're coming in with people that have been here for longer, being aware that sometimes comparison can block you in the process, it can block you in the program. So we're aware of that, and we really create that supportiveness. It's about building ourselves up, building that network that is not always there for women. And then how do we move forward with that? You know, even after this program is over for the group that's here now, there's still a community there. There's still that group. So that's the part of what I do, is really about that connected, continuing the work that the individuals are doing with a mentor.
And how did you feel it when, by doing all these sessions online? Like, how did you experience that?
It wasn't too, because of the project that we're doing with Prespect, it wasn't too bad. So we always done the two. I come from a tech background anyway, so working online and face to face. I miss the face to face. I feel there's certain things that would work better face to face in the group, in the room. We do bring a bit of acting techniques in terms of speaking. We do like the pitch workshop. That was great for working on your physicality. So we've had to adapt a bit of that. So using Facebook is good because we get people to do it online, put them on the spot sometimes, and then we work through that. So it's really just about adapting it, and just continue that interactiveness of it. So it wasn't too bad. And I feel that everyone that's been on the programs really jumped on to it. And I think creating the first session we did was invite everyone, including the SDI team, to post a live video on Facebook introducing themselves. That's always a great icebreaker. So when we went to meet for the first time on Zoom, we all kind of felt like we knew each other. So it gave us that sort of ready to go feel to it. So yeah, just adapting to it and make it fun, continue the fun, but continue the learning. So when we do get there face to face, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe what was your, moving on now to some of the participants, what was your experience so far in New Voices? And also, yeah, tell us a bit about yourself and why you applied to New Voices. Maybe start with you, Charlotte. You're on mute. Oh, there you are.
Is it working now?
Yes.
Sorry, my iPad is having a moment. I'm Charlotte, and I'm a documentary film producer. I mean, first and foremost, I couldn't recommend applying for New Voices enough. I think when I saw the list of things that you were hoping to do with the program come up through SDI adverts, I just was like, okay, this is absolutely everything I need. I really hope that I get it. And I think on the application, I was just trying to be really sincere with what I felt was blocking me, that I felt really stuck, that I needed some guidance and support to get onto the next level. Just, I think when you're working by yourself a lot, it can be quite easy to get yourself into this kind of hole and, you know, need some support to kind of nudge you out of it and show you the way forward. So yeah, it's just been fantastic. Just from being accepted on it, I think I noticed a change straight away, just to have a focus, something that I was like, right, I really want to make a difference in my career and achieve things during this time, and having this 6 months to, you know, get out what you put in has been really, really valuable. Viana's paired us up in accountability partners, which has also worked really well. You know, you have somebody that you can, I guess it depends on the particular relationship of the two of you, but with mine, we can kind of talk really openly about what we're having problems with that week, what we need to achieve. It gives you just a little bit of gentle pressure to sort of pull your finger out and get things done. But really nice to have somebody who totally understands where you come from, because you can get very wrapped up in your own head in this industry, I think. And to be able to have someone where you can voice it and have some feedback that understands where you're coming from is really, really helpful. And it's the same with the mentor. You know, you get somebody who has more experience than you and understands where you're coming from, that can really give you support. I'd say for me, the biggest thing maybe to ask yourself is if you're ready to be made a little bit uncomfortable. Like, I went into the application process thinking, okay, I'm ready to be uncomfortable. I need to be put outside my comfort zone, because at the moment my comfort zone is just keeping myself busy with a to-do list and not necessarily achieving what I want to achieve. But even Viana, from that first Facebook Live video where my heart sank, I was like, oh, I don't want to have to do that. Just since then, it's been little steps of facing your fear and realizing, actually, none of this is that bad, and having a supportive group around you to help you through it is really important. So yeah, I'd say ask yourself, like, okay, are you ready to just give yourself a nudge out of that comfort zone, and great things will happen. So that's my experience, really. I'll let someone else talk.
Thank you, Charlotte. And yeah, thank you for mentioning some of those kind of tools and the way it worked, you know, in terms of working as a group and having the support group, as well as working with, you know, an accountability partner, and having all these different levels of support and ability to talk to others about the struggles you're finding along the way. So yeah, should we move on to Fatma? Would you like to also say a few words about yourself and your experience of New Voices so far?
Yes, of course. Hi, everyone. I'm Fatma. I applied for New Voices. First of all, I didn't have that much confidence, so that's why New Voices was actually perfect for that. Like, when I went in, I was like, oh, probably not gonna get in, you know, who knows what's gonna happen. I'm just gonna go for it. So my biggest advice is, if you're like a bit nervous about it, if you're like, oh, I'm not sure, just go for it. You never know what's going to happen. You never know if you're going to get picked or not. But in the end of the day, I was so lucky to get picked. And I can't recommend it enough. And I think that my favorite, or like one of the best aspects of it for me personally, is that it had this, it wasn't just confidence building and it wasn't just industry training. It had a really good mixture of both. And I'm like sort of like entry level. I've been working in editing for about a couple of years maybe. And I still find myself to be quite a beginner. So still having that industry knowledge from the course, or the program, sorry, was really, really useful. And then alongside it with the career and like the coaching was really, really nice, because it gives you that opportunity to kind of reflect like upon yourself and your attitude, and how to just like present yourself, and how to just like find the confidence within yourself to do the work, to just face your fears, to just be confident and understand that you have the ability to do what, like anything you set your mind to, essentially. Yeah, a lot of what I'm going to say is actually similar to Charlotte's answer, which is basically, this is a very supportive network. I wasn't sure going in, like I was a bit nervous. So like, it's a group of people that I don't know, and everything's online now, and it's quite different. But that went away the second we all talked to each other, and then we had to do this whole like Facebook Live thing for the first time, and I was so nervous. I was dreading it so much. But that's the kind of like little activities that they push you to do, because the second it's done, you're just like, oh, that wasn't so bad. And then it's the very like small tasks that you're meant to do, it actually helps you in the long run, and just makes you understand that it's honestly, things aren't as scary as they seem. Yeah, and yeah, there's so many like different types of support. So you have the support obviously from the group of people that you're placed into, and then as Charlotte said, like you have accountability partners, which is really nice in case you're just kind of a little shy at the start and you're like, oh, I don't know, you know, when I should speak, or like what I should do. So that accountability partner kind of helps that one-to-one getting to know the person, and yeah, like the point of it as well is to just for them to push you. You're meant to like go to them and be like, oh, I really want to do this by the end of the week. They're trying to encourage you to actually achieve that, which is really, like, it sounds very simple because like you might do that already with your friends, but it's also nice to have that kind of label, like, yes, I am the accountability partner. I'm going to message them tomorrow and be like, have you done this? Have you finished this? So yeah, it's really lovely. And the mentorship as well, being paired with a mentor is just so amazing, because they actually, well, personally for me, my mentor was just like, what do you want? Like, they're just looking for you to find what you want, and then they support you however you need and like based on your needs. So that's just also been so useful for me. And yeah, I honestly like can't recommend it enough. Viana's lovely, honestly, insane confidence boosting sessions all the time. The energy is amazing each time, and the group as well. Like I think like we all got very lucky. Everyone in this group has varied experience. And they're not just looking for like, oh, people who are just beginners or people who are experts. There's actually such a variety, and everyone has like different backgrounds in their careers, which is what was really nice to see. Oh, my experience was this, or like my experience with that, and you get to learn from so many different people. And yeah, I think I highly encourage you to actually do it. It helps you in so many different ways that you actually don't even realize that you're just gaining confidence bit by bit.
Thank you, Fatma. And indeed, we are this program is open to for people with a variety of experience or background. You don't have to have been worked as a filmmaker before necessarily, or have done kind of your academic studies in film or television. It's really up to it's about your passion for documentary, and having some work done around documentary, exploring the documentary form that really is a good start, and is enough to apply and to learn and develop from here, from this point. So maybe now it would be good to talk to Sangeeta as well, because you have a lot of experience in academic field and research, and moving now into filmmaking. So would you like to talk a bit about your experience so far, and your experience of New Voices?
Yes, thank you so much, Alex. And hi, everyone. I'm Sangeeta. I have been an academic all my life, 2 decades of academia. I used to teach, and I've been researching, and I have been using aspiring for way too long to describe myself as a filmmaker, because I I have been doing short little documentaries and other things, and I've been working on a documentary for 5 years, but never I thought it is going to be anything beyond YouTube videos. Trust me, because I did not have the confidence. I mean, I collaborated with some of my friends in India. I lived in India for most of my life, and I moved to Scotland in 2015. And then, I mean, I wanted to do this film, but I did not have the confidence, because I thought I'm an outsider, I have no chance, and people will think, what is the credibility? And, in my age, I'm in the mid-career, in terms of my professional engagement. And in filmmaking, I'm a beginner. It's a very weird combination. I was so scared, I cannot tell you. Then I started attending this, different coffee mornings of SDI, and I was so impressed by the kind of support system that SDI offers through various programs. Then I got to know about the New Voices, and like Charlotte told you all, that, I saw, oh my God, they are going to do something I so need. And, it's like, I cannot take 2 years off to train myself as a filmmaker and then do my film, right? So it is a fantastic combination of career coaching, because I'm making a huge transition in my life. So the career coaching thing, and obviously we have a very diverse group, diverse in terms of experience, diverse in terms of career objectives. So we can actually ask people lot of things. And can you imagine the kind of resources we have at our disposal sheerly by being together as a group? So I look at it as a support system, and it has been an amazing support system. And what will I say about Viana? The one-to-one, one-on-one consultancies that we have, if we get stuck somewhere, Viana will, talk to us. And she has this infectious energy about her. I'm also hyperactive. I talk a lot and all these things. And then I see that there is something of appreciation within the group as well as from our mentors. Viana is also kind of our mentors more generally towards our career coaching, and she's our career coach basically. So that is one thing. And then, my wonderful mentor, there are fantastic mentors as part of this New Voices program. So, and as Fatma said that, they will ask you what you need. It is not some structured program in which they will give you prescription and you follow. You have a fantastic agency about what you want to do. That is so important, I think, as women filmmakers, and also as a feminist, I find it extremely liberating. It's very empowering, and there is something very horizontal about it. It is, otherwise, I mean, my little experience of film industry is it works very vertically. There is very high kind of hierarchies there. But by participating, documentary practice is different, of course, but there are also hierarchies. But when I participated in this program, I was slightly apprehensive to begin with, because I did not have any experience of being in a film school. And then when I participated in this program, I realized things are so good. You only get help. You get help you need. And if some of your group members, they don't have the answer immediately, or your mentors don't have the answers immediately, they have their own resources, and they're very generous to share their insights as well as their network and their resources and inspiration. It has been a life changer for me. Personally for me, it changed so many things. And I see already, I see my documentary project going somewhere. I already made, some applications. I'm talking to producers, and my mentor has guided me so well. So obviously it will be different for each person, and but what I'm saying is, we are so fortunate in Scotland to have Scottish Documentary Institute. They are game changer actually. And I think the way they are supporting women and non-binary filmmakers, I think the filmmaking demography will be considerably different as a result of these New Voices. So like my fellow New Voicers, I also cannot recommend it enough. And the mantra that Viana told us, feel your fear and do it anyway. So yeah, step out of your comfort zone. I was very unsure while I'm making the application like Charlotte. And then I thought, oh my God, they will have a look at it and just throw my application to the waste bin. But they did not. I had an interview. And I get nervous when I do an interview. I fumble and I do all kinds of funny things. And I did the same thing in that interview as well, I'm sure. And when I got that letter saying that I got selected, you wouldn't believe what boost it gave me. It really, really made me feel very special. And I think whatever career stage you are in, wherever your project is in, give it a shot, and I'm guaranteeing you it will change your life. It is such a good program. Thank you. That's my story.
Thank you very much, Sangeeta. And Thank you for these very kind words, and I'm really glad to see that, you know, even if the program is still underway, there's still 3 more months to go. It's already helped you make some steps, whether big or small, towards your goals and in your career. And yeah, I'd like to invite Beth as well, if you would like to say a few words about your experience so far in New Voices.
Yeah, so I guess, yeah, I'm a filmmaker and a researcher in TV. So a big reason why I kind of applied was I had a kind of couple of years where I had a bit of a break from making films. I'd made short documentaries before, and I'd always kind of done it, mainly small projects on my own, and I'd not really taken the next steps yet to work with other people. And I think over those 2 years, I kind of had quite a lot of anxiety building up and kind of struggled with my confidence. So I had the same thing as the other guys when I saw the New Voices program, and it just kind of listed everything that I kind of felt like I needed help with. So yeah, I think it's really interesting and doing the videos as well and seeing the difference between that and then the social media one. I can kind of see how, yeah, it's had a big impact. But yeah, I'm really sorry, I've got really nervous. But yeah, it's been really good. I'm really sorry, I've got too nervous to talk. Sorry.
Thank you very much, Beth. And yeah, please everyone, feel free to share your kind of experience, or if you have any questions. I would like to ask Viana as well, if you can tell us a bit more about some of the, because you've been involved in this program from the early stages, so since we were thinking about it, and then you actually got to read the applications and to meet the current participants. So what are your thoughts on some of the kind of obstacles and barriers, and also some of the tools that can be used to overcome them?
Yeah, sure. I'm loving that everybody mentioned the Facebook. I knew that would be something that would kind of shake it up for people a bit, because sometimes is that, as we say, there's a term that we use in a group, feel the fear and do it anyways. That's by Suzanne Jeffers, great book. And it's really just facing that. It's taking baby steps towards your goals. So the first thing that we did at the beginning was to break down the barriers, voice the barriers so that we can break it down. It could be a personal barrier, it could be external, but we don't always think about that. Sometimes the barriers might feel like it's everything. And that can block you, that can stop you, that can have moments where you're overthinking things and then you don't do what it is that you want to do. So again, it depends on the group. Although the list was there because that's a general thing that a lot of people feel. But when we go in and dive into the group, everybody has their own different needs. Everybody has their own, you know, what do they require, and adapting that to the group, and making sure that we provide workbooks. The longest workbook we've had, I think that was the goals, if I'm right, everybody. I think that was the goal setting book. And it's very difficult to do that. I think everybody kind of struggled at the beginning to set their goals, because we do those, I want this big thing, and then you see it, and again that can block you because you've got this big goal that you put there, and suddenly you're like, I can't do this. So again, breaking it down. So we like doing things in chunks. We're like taking daily steps. So we've got 2 different planners that people use in a group. You've got the daily planner where you plan your day, and then you've got your long-term planner that you use. But again, it's adapting to the group. What is it that we need to move forward? And again, you know, Beth, I'm going to call Beth on this here. It's like, you did well. You know, Beth was somebody that I was actually surprised, pleasantly surprised and happy that you've joined in as part of the panel, because I know that going up there and speaking in front of the group was a bit of a challenge. But today, for me, seeing you in this, it's, again, that's another boost. You did it. You spoke in front of this group of people. The next time you're going to do it again, you're going to do even better. You know, I just remember being in a similar position, trying to talk, and suddenly everything just goes into your head, and then that stops you, you know. But we all go through this, and this is a perfect example of the type of peoples that we're going to get into the group. And there's no judgment, you know, there's no comparison. Everybody has their own journey and where they want to be. And that's really important. And I love that, again, everybody was picking up on the empowerment, especially empowerment of women, non-binary people, is that it's your journey, it's your experience, and it's up to you. And I think some people struggle with that at times when we're asked, what is it that you want? What, you actually want me to tell you what I want? Why are you not telling me what I should be doing? Because we're so used to that, what you should be doing. And this is a very different program. It's really about you. What is it that you want? How do you want to move in this industry? What do you want to do? What stories do you want to tell? How can we help you tell those stories? And in the process, is building you up, is building that confidence, because confidence doesn't come overnight. You know, you kind of have a day where you're here having a great chat, tomorrow it will disappear, but we work through that. Yeah, so it's really adapting the tool. So we do create little short booklets that people can take away and do stuff. We do have tiny little bits of homework. You know, homework, we think about it, I don't know how everybody feels about homework, but it's just a little bit, it's all about you working on yourself. And then we'll talk about it. And the one-to-ones have been really, really important. Although we're only going to do one-to-ones at the beginning and at the end, again, it was important to adapt to the group because there were certain things that it required that one-to-one between myself and the individual. They have their accountability partners, but the important thing with accountability partners is that the balance, the support that you give to each other, rather than just depending on the person, is really about you both elevating each other. And you can see the difference in the group. You know, sometimes I wish I was a fly on the wall listening to some of these accountability chats. You know, we drop little messages in the Facebook about what people are doing, how to move forward. We did do a Friday celebration, so we need to bring that back again in the group. Just celebrating the little steps and wins, you know, everything, every tiny step, it doesn't matter how you get there, is a win. So bringing that on a Friday, that celebration of what you've done, again, is really important into the group. But it's been fantastic. I think for me, as I keep saying, you know, it's a bit of a holiday. I love creativity. I love just anything to do with the film industry. And this has been such a privilege to work with people with variety of skills, you know, and see them develop and grow, and just hearing everybody today it's great.
Thank you very much. And we've already, and thank you everyone who posted questions in the chat box. I'll start going through some of them. And because some of them are talking about the application process, and if you have any tips, and yeah, I think we've heard already some of these tips from the participants. So being kind of honest and reflective about your own struggles, about your own barriers, however small or big they seem, just kind of talk about them and put them in the application. And also, one of the items in the application form is to share the kind of the work you've done, so some of the work samples that you've done so far, and it can be, you know, from microfilms that you've made for YouTube or Vimeo to kind of more professional documentaries that you've worked on. So it's really a variety of work, just so that the selection panel can get a sense of you know, of your style, of your approach, of your perspective, of your kind of passion for documentary. And yeah, we are, for this program, for New Voices, starting this March, we are accepting 10 participants. It's obviously, we would love to have more, but we're hopefully, depending on funding and everything, we're going to be able to continue this program and to have it as a regular feature that we can provide, and to just keep on building this network and keep on creating further opportunities for women and non-binary filmmakers. And yeah, you don't have to apply with a project, so you don't need to have a project that you're working on at the moment, or, you know, this is mostly about you, about building your skills and developing as a professional in the industry. you know, if you have a project, that's great. You can talk more about it with the rest of the group or with the mentors, and you can get perhaps specific feedback on that, but you don't have to have a project at the moment. Yeah, I also see a question from Ruby, if the meetings, yeah, so there is we will share with you a schedule of the timetable of the sessions. It is very flexible, so I don't know about how you felt, you know, the current participants in terms of the schedule and how you could balance your other work with this course, but it is very flexible in terms of, you know, choosing together as a group a certain day that works for you, a certain time slot that works for you, and then yeah, move on from there basically. But yeah, do you have any thoughts so far on the scheduling and balancing out the work with the workload with the homework and with the sessions? Charlotte, you want to say something?
Yeah, see if it's actually unmuted. Yeah, I think giving yourself permission to dedicate as much time as you can to it is a key thing. Like you will get out what you put in, but also Viana and everyone else in the group are very flexible as well. You know, if there's a session that somebody can't do, they're often recorded, or we can kind of catch up and chat about them. I mean, I probably could have spent the entire of the last 3 months just thinking about the kind of questions that Viana and my mentor Elham have been posing. Like you really encouraged to like get deep inside yourself and explore things. But, you know, people have had to deal with, I don't have to homeschool myself, but some of the participants are now juggling homeschooling and a day job and what they want to do on New Voices and the projects that they're hoping to achieve. And everybody's sort of managing to do it and to juggle it, because you have the support there where, you know, your accountability partner can just give you a nudge when you need it, but they can also step back. We've had one participant who just had a baby last week. You know, you really can fit in anything that you need to. Like, yeah, I would say be prepared to make the most of the 6 months. And, you know, I wouldn't sign up if you think like, okay, I'm just not up for doing a 1 hour session every week, and I don't want to spend a couple of hours thinking about this and that. But it's flexible, and I think within a couple of sessions you'll be kind of addicted to answering these questions because of the results that you see. Like, you know, a little bit of time put in comes back tenfold. So yeah, I wouldn't let it put you off if you think I have so much to juggle already, but just also be ready to commit that, you know, you've taken a place and it's a valuable thing, and there'll be other people who really want to be in your shoes. So, you know, be prepared to kind of jump in with both feet is what I would say about the schedule.
Yeah. And also to mention, we also have childcare and travel bursaries available. So if you need it, we can definitely help with that. I mean, travel, I don't know how much that is relevant at the moment, but with childcare support and travel, if there will be a point to meet in person, we have that in as part of the program. And yeah, I don't know, do you have any other tips for the application process? I don't know, Sangeeta?
I think, yeah, I mean, when I cannot tell what everybody will be thinking while writing the application, but because I had quite a lot of doubt about this, you know, whole application process. I mean, that's my training as an academic. You know, we have lots of doubts. That's our trademark, kind of. So when I was writing that, I actually jotted down quite a few points. And also from these coffee mornings, I gathered that I do part-time work here. I teach in a university. So I know that, you know, during term, my schedule will be quite tight. So I wanted to make sure, like, you know, Charlotte very rightly pointed out, that I asked myself whether I'm ready to make this commitment. When I heard that word homework, in one of the, a similar kind of coffee session, then I thought, oh my God, homework. Then I'm checking homework, I'm doing homework. How will I do? But let me tell you, these homeworks, they're tiny little things, but they are more time with yourself, and you actually explore yourself. I did, when I engaged with these activities, I explored things about myself I did not know before. So it is also quite therapeutic for me, and I could actually find out the most effective way of doing it. So do not be put off by a schedule. It's very flexible, like Viana said, like Alex said, like Charlotte said, it's very flexible, but at the same time it will give you some me time. It will give you some time which is uh, as women we hardly ever have. So that's a kind of, I look at it as a kind of luxury. Initially I was scared, but I think it's a luxury, and I can afford myself that time, 1 hour, 1.5 hour, jotting down. And some days I don't even spend any time thinking or doing this thing. So it is, everything depends on you. You do the scheduling, you spend the time, some days more, some days less, some days no time at all. Our life is like that. So I mean, this flexibility is one landmark I think you are going to enjoy as women, because we run families and we do all kinds of things and we know how it goes. So that is one thing. And also ask yourself what exactly you would like to take home from this program. I think that is very important. I know that it's an institutional thing and everything, but it is, at the end of the day, it is about you, how you want to see yourself, later in your career. This is just setting your path, maybe, for a sprint later on. So I think it helped me quite a lot to think what I want from this, why I want to make this application, why I want to take the time to commit myself for 6 months. It's not a 15-day program, it's a 6 months program. So I think it is important to do that, and then things become structured. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sangeeta. And it was there were many useful tips there and advice, like what, to have a think about what you want to do, how really can this program, help you in your career. So this is linked to a question we have from Jassy, asking about, why, basically, what are the criteria for this and for other SDI programs that unfortunately weren't successful. So I think, so we have different opportunities for different stages in your career you're at, and different needs you might have in your career. So New Voices is basically, for filmmakers who are just early in their career, or who are a bit more advanced but still kind of struggling. And I would say, in terms of some other kind of tips or advice, is just to be very clear about what you're hoping to do in your career. Why are you passionate about the documentary form, even if you haven't had a chance to work so much in the documentary format so far. We've had for the last program, we've had around 65 applications. So it was very difficult, because it feels like we all, like, there are so many women who are having a lot of struggles and finding a lot of barriers. And it would be great if we can just build this network, this bigger network. We wouldn't have to just select a few, but in general, it would be just to, like, just general advice of just being very detailed about, you know, your struggles, your barriers, your hopes and goals with your career and with your passion for documentary. Really, I think these are, I know they seem quite general, but if you have this kind of reflective process and just try and think about, you know, what are some of these obstacles and goals, these can be very helpful for the application. And also I wanted to mention that we can support along the way with your application. You can get in touch via our email, newvoices@scottdoc.com. So whenever you have questions about the application, if you're unsure about, you know, what to put in terms of previous work or how to address some of these questions, do get in touch at this email. And yeah, for any kind of other types of, if you want a kind of a longer, more in-depth consultancy advice on your project, you can apply to the Consultancies, which is another opportunity we have for, which is also free for anyone, filmmakers based in Scotland. So through the Consultancies, we can offer like specific advice on film projects, depending on what stage they're at. And yeah, so essentially we do want to encourage kind of just to get in touch if you're struggling, because, you know, the barriers can be at any stage of the application process. They can be at any, even kind of submitting an application can be a barrier. It can seem an obstacle. So yeah, we're here to help, basically. Yeah. Any other questions? If you feel like, you can just unmute yourself. Yeah. Or any other advice that you might have for filling in an application, like if you've struggled with any of the questions, or if you've had any sort of if you found any of the questions not that easy to answer in the application. Did that happen to any of you?
I always want to jump in if I can maybe just ask a question, which is maybe for Viana. And I appreciate if you maybe don't even want to answer it, because it's sort of a bit of an insight into the future. But I just wonder, is there anything that you've done, or that you've, you know, as this course, as the program has gone on, that you've thought, well, actually, maybe for the next one, we could try this as well, or do something differently? Not to say that you've done something wrong with this, but just, you know, is there anything that you think could be enhanced even, or I don't know, it's just a random sort of question that came to me there.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, so as I was saying before, we were only going to do one sort of one-to-one at the beginning and then another one at the end, just to get to know people. But we found that at some stages we needed to bring more of that. And I think, again, we started, as we were working through it, we started looking at things like online presence, bringing in a bit of marketing skills as well, just from the business sense. Something that we don't always do enough of in the creative industry is how to promote yourself, how to talk about yourself in terms of you as a business, or separating yourself from the creative to the business. And there's nothing dirty about that idea of making money with what you do. So things like this, we're sort of looking at adapting. Although we've got a list that we said that we were providing in the course, what the group have asked and presented, and in terms of how we've gone through the process, we've had to adapt to it. I think the beauty of this program is, you know, we've heard from the current participant what they've liked, how they processed through, how they're growing through it. That's for them. So it's thinking that whoever's applying now, what you're going to get is going to depend on you. So the advice I would give is, as Alexandra was saying there, is be honest in your application, be open in your application. And again, it's confidential. That application is not going to go to anyone but the people who are reading it. That way, as Jessie was writing, we're able to know what is it that we can do for you. So it's really adapted to the group. Something that I did was I looked at the keywords of things that people said in application, what was repeating in the group. So for this group, it was all about confidence, personal confidence, even though we've had people there that have done amazing things, but there were baggage and just things that were presenting themselves that were holding them back, that now when you can say it, when you can address it in that safe environment, we're seeing people doing some amazing things, you know, sharing things that we didn't know that they've done because they weren't sure they could share it. So it's really about that. It's really about more of that personal empowerment. You know, yes, we're here as a documentary collective, as a group, but your personal journey is really important, because that just makes the industry stronger. It makes what, you know, what you're doing at SDI even better. But again, it depends on the group, I would say.
Yeah, and I would also say that we are just kind of starting out. So this has just been the pilot of the New Voices program. We're hopefully going to have many more, and we're hopefully going to build on this and really create this network, because I think one of the common things that emerged from the applications was also the lack of a network, or basically just people knowing each other and talking to each other about the struggles they're facing. So we're able to do this in this very kind of small group of 9 people, but hopefully we're going to be able to expand that and have, you know, build this network of women filmmakers who have a lot in common, you know, in terms of the obstacles, but also in terms of goals and dreams. Yeah. Debbie, I think you wanted to ask the question to the participants. Yeah.
What can I ask you? So that sounds like a brilliant scheme that you've got in place. For those that have done the New Voices or near the end, have you actually like kind of done collaboration work, or are you going to be doing collaboration work? Because I think networking is a really important thing in this industry. Everyone unmute me now.
Collaboration work in terms of collaborating with each other, or just like...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, sadly, I think the pandemic has been a big issue for that. But I think that's something that I'd more than love to do once things settle down a bit and we're able to meet in person. I think mainly we've done what we can do from where we are, which is to share advice and share our experiences. But I think collaboration is definitely, hopefully, on the table down the line. I know, like, we've all joked around and we're like, oh, when we make our film together, or like, oh, wait, in like 10 years, we're going to make like this big film, which, you know what, I do think is true. I do think it's just more of a waiting game. But I think collaborating is, at least for me, I'm not going to speak on everyone, but hopefully I would love to collaborate with them. They're all insanely talented, and every one of them does something that's so different from the other, and everyone brings something so special to the table. And yeah, it would be an honor.
Remember, Fatma, we were talking about creating a collective even, you know, that all the New Voices will form a collective in Scotland, and that will be a fantastic resource and everything. And I think, yeah, it has that potential of collaboration, because different people have got different experiences and skills, most importantly. So, you know,
absolutely.
people, yeah, so I think, you know, it will actually be, and, you know, some of us share our passion for specific areas, you know, and then, you know, there could be all kinds of collaborative work, I believe. And pandemic also taught us rethink the idea of collaboration in a very different way, you know. You know, I'm working on my film project. You know, some of my crew, members of crew, they are in India, and I cannot go to India. They cannot come here. So we have to find a way of collaborating. And you know, when we have beautiful people with loads of experiences and skills, so collaboration is only a natural extension, I guess. So yeah, I think it has that potential, definitely.
Thank you. Diana, you wanted to say something, or just, just to pick up on a question there about the diversity criteria. Yes, you can mention anything about disability or mental health issues. These are very important factors in your work, obviously, and if yeah, you can definitely include that alongside, you know, any other information about sexual orientation or gender or ethnicity. And yeah, if you have like any other questions that perhaps are not mentioned in the guidelines, then yeah, please do get in touch, and we can provide more details and more tips and advice. And yeah, just the, as I mentioned, the full guidance is on our website as well. And yes, socioeconomic are also part of the, you can also mention that as part of the diversity criteria, or, you know, barrier struggles you faced. I think we need to wrap up soon, but we can take any last questions from the audience, or any last thoughts from the participants. Oh, Lindsay, yeah, you want to say something?
Hi. Fatma, you mentioned that you did like editing before as well, but did you find like it, because I work in editing, but obviously want to create my own docs direct as well. And did you find it helped with that kind of development in the film, because you're working, because you understood that side, and then you were learning more in the new voices with the directing as well? Because it mentions in the application, I mean, I take it it's filmmaking that we're talking about, because you said directors and producers in the application, and I was just wondering how you found for career path of possibly working with other directors yourself in the future, but also creating your own documentaries as well. Did you find it kind of boosted that kind of side of your knowledge?
Absolutely. That was my main issue when I, like, that was the reason that I was like, oh, I need to apply. And that's the thing that I focused on the most throughout the whole program, which is literally that problem, which is why I was like, oh, I've only been in editing. I've only done post. So will I ever be an editor? Will I ever take, oh, sorry, a director? Will I ever take that step?
Yeah.
And yeah, I went in to the program saying that my goal personally is to at least take the first steps to making my own film, or at least write a script or do something that just kind of gets me more familiar with that side that I'm obviously not experienced in at all. So if I highly actually recommend it if you're in the same position, because that's what was so helpful about listing your goals with Viana as well. She was like, okay, you need to just be clear and honest with yourself, and then we tackle it bit by bit. So I'm working with my mentor, and I'm like, oh, thinking of writing a script, and they're like, oh, share ideas, tell me what your idea, let's develop it together, and then let's do this, and then let's do that, and then they point you in the direction that you actually need the most. Because I had never written a script. I'm still kind of writing a script that I think is very, very rough in a sense, but in the same time, I would have never done that had I not actually sat down with myself and I was like, okay, this is what I need. I'm gonna do something that is completely unfamiliar territory, and they have helped me every step of the way. So absolutely, I'd actually highly recommend it.
Okay, yeah, it's nice to know that, because it's often when you work in editing, you work on a level where you have so many ideas of your own, but
yeah, absolutely,
don't know where to get them to a point sometimes. So it's good. It was good to hear you say that before.
Yeah, no, honestly, don't be discouraged. Don't think, oh, you're in just one position or like one career path, you can't switch. That's not the case here.
Cool, thank you.
No problem.
Yeah, so it's obviously New Voices is not so much focused on any kind of particular craft in the film industry, so like editing or cinematography or something like that, because it focuses more on your kind of personal and professional development. And if you are interested, you know, maybe exploring, if you are interested in kind of either directing or producing or both.